Welcome back to the Plus Money Podcast, your home for the best soccer bets in 15 minutes or less. Another week, another tournament to prepare for. Copa America kicks off in a matter of days, a major highlight for our summer of soccer here. Lionel Messi and Argentina look to be the favorites. Win another tournament. We're here to break down all of our best bets and futures for the South American Championships being played here in our own backyard. I'm Andrew Passaro. He's Ani Sridhar. Kyle Bonn joins us this week. You can follow Kyle at _bonfire. Check out his work over at Sporting News. Kyle, it's glad to have you back on the show. We've had you on a few times. Everybody excited for the summer on a scale of 1 to 10. How excited are we for Copa America?
I think, if you're just narrowing it to Copa America, I'll say a 7. I think it'll be fun. I'm fascinated to see what's going to happen with Brazil. I think they're one of the most intriguing teams in the nation or in the world right now. They were crap in World Cup qualifying and have since gotten a couple of cool friendly results. So I'm fascinated to see what they can bring. I am dreading the US coming into this Copa America, but look, I could talk about the US for 2 hours straight. We're not going to do that, but there is so much riding on this Copa America for the United States. I think that it's going to be really interesting. So yeah, I'll give it a 7 on its own. For the summer, 10 out of 10. I mean, you put the Copa America and the Euros together and the Olympics, heck yeah, let's go.
I'm at about a 15 for the summer, but I'm a
Yeah.
7. 7 sounds right. Ani, Copa America scale?
Probably a 4 for the Copa America. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna act. I'm so excited to watch Peru take on Paraguay and I don't know, whatever. It's gonna be exciting because I might maybe even go to the game. I know Argentina and Chile are playing here in New York and tickets aren't that bad and it's like a chance to see Messi before the World Cup. So I'm excited to see Messi. Who's not? But I'd be lying if I said it's
I'm
eh.
going to Uruguay, Bolivia. I got to go see Darwizzi in the flesh. Let's
There you
start with
go.
teams. Let's start with teams to win the tournament. It's hard to give out this prop when Argentina are plus 175. I think Argentina are going to win this tournament. I'm going to give you a team that I do think is very good value, though. A team that's managed by a coach who's done this before. A team that has a excellent midfield, headlined by, in my opinion, one of the best midfielders we saw play in the Champions League. I'm talking about Uruguay. You can get them anywhere between plus 500, plus 550, plus 600. If Bielsa can speak that sweet nothings into Darwin Nunez's ear, get him off the internet, staying away from every comment section that has ever said anything bad about him. I'm not one of those people. I just want him to know that if he listens to this podcast, I have full faith in him. But I think Uruguay are a team. You've got the Luis Suarez swan song, Darwin Nunez breaking through. Obviously, so many talented players all over the place. They've been doing, they've done well of late. They romped Mexico, but I don't think that's anything special of late. But I think in terms of pure value, I think the one I want to highlight here is Uruguay. I really like the midfield. That's where I would start in terms of futures. That's where I would start in terms of teams to win the tournament.
Yeah. Look, almost 2-1 odds for Argentina to win this tournament. For a future sucks. I'm still taking it. I think even better value is Argentina to reach the final. You're looking at minus 135. I'm gonna tell you the 5 best teams in the Copa America, right? Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, Colombia, US. Those are the 5 best teams in Copa America. US a distant 5th. 4 of them are on one side of the bracket. The one that's on the other is Argentina. Argentina's side of the bracket is Peru, Chile, Canada, Mexico, Ecuador, Venezuela, Jamaica. If you don't think Argentina can make it through that side of the bracket to the final, you're insane. They are a lock to make the final at minus 135. Get out of here. I'm all over it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. That's why I didn't take Argentina straight, but I took 2 different futures instead. I took straight forecast. Argentina 1, Brazil 2 at plus 550, and Argentina 1, Uruguay 2 at plus 800. Because I think those are the 2 teams that will come out of the other side anyways. So why not just straight forecast it? And if you want a third hedge, maybe take, like you said, Uruguay on the money line instead. Because I don't think Brazil really on the money line's worth it either. They're like plus 240, which is still not very good. So, yeah, when we're talking about win bets, I think that's the way to go. Straight forecast for this tournament.
You can get teams in the final. So you can get Argentina, Uruguay plus 600 teams in the final, which I do like just as much, if not more, than Uruguay to win the tournament. It's comes down to that Uruguay Brazil matchup. Um,
I'm gonna jump in here and just say I think Colombia could blow everything up. They are a really good team. They've gotten results against Argentina and Brazil in World Cup qualifying. They're on a 22 game unbeaten streak. They're so good. And they aren't flashy. They're not fun. They're not exciting, but they get results, which I could talk for hours about is something that the US is missing. They don't know how to win ugly. Colombia know how to win ugly, and I could see them blowing up that side of the bracket. I think Uruguay is the best team on that side of the bracket, but I could see Colombia blowing it up.
That's a great tease for dark horses because they are plus 1,400, which is an incredible dark horse price. I want to talk about a team on the other side of the bracket, I believe, that I qualify as a dark horse, and I think they're going to win their group additionally, and that's Ecuador. They're plus 1,800. They've been playing really well in qualification for the next World Cup. They're additionally, there's a couple players I would say at least one should be a household name. Hincapié, their defender from Bayer Leverkusen. They have another a defender at Frankfurt who's been linked to Liverpool this offseason. And then the player up top to watch is the Chelsea prospect, the 17-year-old Kendry Payet, who is wearing the number 10 shirt for them. There's still good players on this roster.
Caicedo, Estupinian. You've got two household EPL names on that squad.
Exactly. There's a lot to like on this team, and I think Ecuador is a team that hasn't had that moment yet. That is like youngsters that are still coming in, and that this is the like opportunity for them to emerge on a more world stage, if you will. So plus 1,800, I'm cashing out on that if I get them to the semifinals. Like I'm not, they're gonna lose to Argentina in the semis, but at 18-1, if and you get a good cash out, that's my dark horse right there. Anybody else you got? I mean, we talked about Colombia, but anybody else you guys kind of like there?
I would just say if you're looking at either Ecuador at plus 1,800 or Colombia at plus 1,600, that Colombia plus 1,600 is just so enticing. I just think they are so strong. They have no weaknesses. They don't really like Luis Diaz isn't a terribly exciting player. He's high volume, low production. He got pocketed by Joe Scally in a 5-1 win. Like that's not great. But he produces still amidst all that. And they, Rafael Santos Borre is just another one of those grinders. They just have a grinding out team. I think they could reach like I could see them just mucking up games against Brazil. Don't do well against mucked up games. They do well against, oh, this team's trying to outscore us. We'll kick rocks. Like we're going to outscore you. But they don't do well against mucked up games. I could see that messing with Uruguay a little bit, especially if Darwin has a Darwin game. Like if he just misses 8 big chances. I think Colombia is the better value. You guys are right because Ecuador are in a good group and on a better side of the bracket. I just think Colombia have a better chance to mess the tournament up.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that if you're looking for the long shot. But I did lock in Ecuador to win group at plus 160 as
Same.
I mean, Mexico, just not the Mexican team that we've seen in the past. That team
Not close.
It's just they're in shambles. Jamaica, absolutely not. I mean,
I would say Jamaica may come out of that group as the number 2. I could see them coming out as the number 2. They're
number
a
2.
pain
Yeah,
in the butt.
I don't think they'll win.
I have that. That's my. I honestly wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
I haven't. I'll be honest. I have not watched a lot of Venezuela. But
I think
have
the group's probably pretty wide open. It's probably very wide open. Like any one of these teams could just have a game on any day, right?
I have Ecuador, Jamaica, Mexico, Venezuela.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be shocked if Mexico got. I mean, I know every game in North America for Mexico is a home game. But in terms of like crowd, but I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if Venezuela did something.
You can get Jamaica to advance at 3-1. I'm all over that.
That's not bad either. I like that a lot too.
Yeah, There is I mean, like I also have Ecuador to make the semis at plus 180 195 because if they do win their group, then they'll take on the second place team from the Argentina group, which is Chile, Canada, or Peru. So woof. I would give the edge to Ecuador there for sure before they get absolutely destroyed by Argentina. So
And what's
All right.
funny is getting destroyed by Argentina is 1-0.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll probably have 80% possession. They'll get a goal from probably Julian Alvarez, and that'll be it.
That brings me to my golden boot. I have two names circled. Julian Alvarez at plus 650 is one of them. I mean, it's hard not to say Messi, but I do want someone who's going to run and let him kind of play that playmaker role a little bit, and Alvarez can do that. My only concern with him is who's starting. Is it him or Lautaro Martinez? But Julian
Right.
Alvarez has such a better record with the Argentinian national team than Lautaro does. And then just for the vibes, I'm gonna put a Darwin ticket in at plus 550, plus 600 because if they get there, I mean they have a bad group.
I
I
have it
think
too.
I think Darwin Nunez could score two or two, maybe three against the U.S. Then they all I'm going to the game against Bolivia, and then which
Should be 4-0 there. He could score all
Bolivia
four.
outside of Bolivia probably
Not
not
good.
great.
Not good.
Um,
And
and then
most of these teams are outside of their home country aren't very good. Most of them. Most of
yeah,
them.
yeah. So at plus 550, plus 600, I'm gonna run there on Darwin. Anybody else you guys like for Golden Boot?
You covered it for me.
I,
Darwin.
Messi at plus 350. Like he's their penalty taker. He's
Yeah.
not coming off the field. He, Andrew, I don't want to do this, but I can't let it go. Julian Alvarez hasn't scored in 12 international appearances. He's a role player for that team, and he's just not the first option. Messi is the first, second, and third option for that attack. Like Di Maria may score a goal every once in a while. There are guys who can find the net, but Messi's 1, 2, and 3, and he's not coming off the field. And they're gonna ride him until he falls apart, which may happen. Which honestly, to me, that's the biggest risk of picking Messi as the golden boot is if he gets hurt or if he has more muscle problems. But at plus 350, I'm not going anywhere else. And I hate this because it's boring and it's not fun. But like I also took Cristiano Ronaldo to win the Euro Golden Boot. And they don't even need to make it that far because he's their penalty taker. They get a ton of penalties, and all he needs, they have a terrible group. Argentina has a terrible group, and like they just got to get one or two knockout wins, and he's got the Golden Boot. The Golden Boot is always wrapped up by the semis, like it's never on the line in the finals. So I'm not going anywhere else. It's boring, it's not fun, but like that's it for me.
The only time it wasn't wrapped up was the last World Cup final when Messi and Mbappe could still get it, and then they both decided to go off in the final. So that was like that was the last time that it really wasn't there. And more times than not, I feel like the team that wins it doesn't have the Golden Boot winner on the team. Usually it's like the team that comes in second or third that just had someone go just nuts and then make it like when Diego Forlan, I think he won it when Uruguay made that run. I was like, what, 12 years or 14 years
It was
ago,
two. What
World
was
Cup?
it? Was that 2006 or was it? No,
Yeah.
it was 2010. No, it was
Yeah.
20. That was 2010. I do want to point out one thing. If Argentina make the final, we all have to bet Angel Di Maria to score in the final.
Oh, yeah,
He's
absolutely.
scored in back-to-back finals for Argentina.
Yeah.
It
I
is
bet on it. I bet on the World Cup final. That was a
it was
great bet. Lock. That was
It's June
a button.
11th.
Just, oh, yeah,
It is June
boom.
11th. I'm telling you right now, Angel Di Maria scores in the final. Other props we have, I do have a little parlay to advance. Uruguay, Argentina win their group. Colombia to advance is plus 225. That's how that sounds like free money. A cheeky one at plus 600. Endrick, Brazil top goal scorer,
I saw that.
because
I
he
did see
is
that.
he's the man. He's in the right positions.
They don't have anyone else. Vinicius is just not a consistent goal scorer on the international level. Rodrigo is like comes and goes. I would say if anybody other than Endrick, it's Rodrigo. Like Vinicius just isn't that for Brazil. But yeah, Endrick is exactly what they needed, which was a 9.
The
Yeah,
only other guy I would say from Brazil is Rafinha because he'll just rip it from anywhere on the field, and he hits some absolute bangers from outside the box, and he'll be on free kicks that are right outside the box too. Like that's his role. So he's the only other one on that team I could be like plus 430, maybe. Could be him.
I did write down because I was so dialed into Euros futures when I did this futures. I accidentally wrote down Brazil out in the quarterfinals, which does mean that it means the US would beat them, which is not happening. But,
That's
but
if the
Yeah,
that's if the US doesn't win their group, right? If the US wins their group, then they wouldn't see Brazil if Brazil wins their group.
there's the
I think
US
there's
is
a better chance the U.S. beats Brazil than the U.S. beats Uruguay.
ooh.
Oh.
Well, that's plus 300 is Brazil to
Well,
go out in the quarterfinals.
let's see how US does against Brazil in the last tune-up match before the tournament starts.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's gonna be hammer the over in that one. Any other props you guys like before we wrap things up today?
Nah, I think we pretty much covered it all. I hate that it's only 16 teams. It just the small field just makes me wish there was more. Even if the teams were bad, just like throw like Trinidad and Tobago in there, like give some of these like other countries just a shot to like compete in this tournament. Like
Yeah, my one was going to be Jamaica to get out of the group at 3-1. I The other one I'll say is not a like tip, it's the opposite. I came into this, so I wrote an article for Sporting News about this about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I said stay away from Brazil. They're plus 225 to win the title. They're minus 125 to reach the final. They're on the tough side of the bracket. Just like stay away from them. And I still will say that. Stay away from anything Brazil. They're too messy to do anything right. But I feel less good about that now than I did like 2 weeks ago because I thought the results against Spain and England were like a fluke because they've been terrible in World Cup qualifying. But now the the game against Mexico, like, yeah, they let them back, but I don't know. They're getting results now and they're starting to learn how to win ugly. And that's nothing that Brazil's ever been able to do in the last decade. Like they were terrible at trying to win ugly at the World Cup. And now I'm just like, man, will Brazil come out of that side of the bracket? Like, I don't think so because I think Uruguay are better than them, and I think Colombia could mess with them. But I feel less good about that than I did a week or two ago.
I think it's very easy to get lost in the star power of Brazil of just like they've kind of almost become like the England of South America where it's like you look at all the household names it's like this guy this guy this guy this guy they should put it together and then I think we need to address the elephant in the room with Brazil. It's they have an interim manager who's you know they cannot seem to figure out the guy who can bring in the vibes and until Carlo Ancelotti walks in the door at Brazil, if he ever does, and brings that, we're not going to play in a formation, we're just playing off vibes, which is exactly what Brazil needs. I'm not going to invest in them in any sort of tournament anytime soon. Uh, I just don't
And
trust them.
and I don't care what you think of Neymar. There is no Ewing theory here. They are worse without Neymar. And it's been a while since they've had him. I get it. And they didn't get results with him. I know that. But they are worse without Neymar. Like when he went down at the World Cup, you could tangibly see what they were missing. And I just even though I don't feel as good about it now as I did 2 weeks ago, plus 225 to win the title and minus 125 to reach the final is awful value for a team that has a ton of flaws.
They're also very young for once. They're like
Yes.
very, very young. Not I feel like no Thiago Silva's big, not just from his play, just leadership. When you don't have a guy like Thiago Silva on that back line, it hurts. And Allison's going to be the goalie number one, right? No Ederson
Yeah.
as well.
Ederson's, I
Yeah.
think he's still recovering from that ocular injury from the end of the season. But it would have been Allison anyways. It really isn't as much of a competition as people say it out to be. Last note on Brazil, and we will wrap it up after this. Could be the last time we see Lucas Paqueta play a lot of football because his gambling suspension could hit shortly thereafter. Um, so maybe keep an eye out on him. He's not exactly, Mr. Goal scorer, but assists, whatever. Who knows? You can follow Kyle at the _bonfire. Go check out his work. He'll have a whole bunch of stuff coming up for Euros for Copa, all of it. You can follow me and Ani at Andrew Passaro at Ani323, and you can follow us at the Plus Money Pod. I have no idea how often we're going to be hitting you guys with pods talking about the Euros, talking about Copa, because it's going to be happening every day, 5 matches a day for a little while there. So we'll get pods out when we can, but social channels will have picks every day. So just be following there, and we'll have you guys covered. Best of luck, and let's enjoy the summer of soccer, and we'll catch you guys soon.